Oh, this video is being shot because there's none on the web that I can find that shows replacing the motor. Mine, I've had my robot for like 7 years, no problem at all, but now the motor's starting to get a little weak. So I called the company and they sent me a new motor, and I'm going to attempt to replace it myself. As you can see, I have the big ball right there off the top of the litter robot, and I've got the litter drawer pulled out. So we're going to start taking it apart. I've never done anything like this before, so I hope it goes smoothly. My mistakes will be your gain, I guess. Okay, now looking at this base, as you can see, there's the gears to the motor that turns the ball on the top, okay? And here's the motor that the company sent me. That's got to go in there. Only 2 wires to connect. You know, it doesn't look like it's too complicated to me, but like I say, I'm no mechanic, so we'll see. That's what you need, and that's where we're going right now. Okay, looking inside the door, you can see the motor right there, and 2 of those nuts, the one right there and the one right there, are fully accessible. There's no problem with that. And it's just this last nut way up in there. I don't know if I can get a flashlight in, right up in there. That's going to be hard to get to. Next, you have to remove the rivets that hold the top part of the bottom unit to the lower part. And one quick easy way is just to drill them out from the other side, and mine the first one popped right out. So you've got a number of those that you can do that too, and should come right off. Okay, when drilling out these rivets, I'm actually drilling them out from the inside, just to make that clear, from the inside out, so I don't hopefully make those holes any larger than they are, so I can re-rivet it. I'm just using a Dremel. You can use a drill, whatever, like such. Turn it on and drill from this side. It's about the same size or just under as the rivet. It heats it up, and you can push it out then. And when it pushes out a little bit, you just turn the unit around. You can see the rivet has popped out there, and then you just pull it out with a pair of pliers. Okay, after all the rivets are taken out, there's what, I don't know, maybe 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 or so. I'm not count real quick. There's your motor exposed. All you have to do is disconnect it now. I've gotten the nuts off of mine right now. Doesn't look bad so far. The wires that you can see go to under this unit right here, where it keeps everything clean and dry and stuff. And all you have to do is take a screwdriver or something to pry this one edge up and take the cover off to expose all your connections. And you just look for your motor connection, unplug the current, and replug the new. Also, when you open this up, you're going to find that, or at least I did, I have an older model. The 2 wires coming from my old motor are big. The biggest wires in there, they're thicker than any of the other wires in there. And one is red and one is black. But on the new motor, that one is red and one is white. Now I'm assuming that probably the red still goes to the red, but that's not always true. It all depends on the way they wired it, the individuals wired it, or what their policy was at the store or at the manufacturing plant. Usually the red goes to the switch, but in this case, both the red and the brown are going up to the control panel here. So I don't know how I'm going to handle this. I don't want to burn the motor out. And if I put the wrong wire on the wrong side, I'm not sure if it will burn the motor out, or if it'll, instead of the motor going clockwise, if it'll go counterclockwise. So I'll just hope for the best and try red on red. I'll let you know. Okay, one thing about when you do take these 2 halves together, there is one wire that is attached to both. That one wire right there. So you want to be careful and not break the wire or pull it out from its anchors or whatever. So you can actually keep the things kind of close together, so you don't stretch or break the wire. That's a little bit of a warning, I guess. Okay, just a word to the wise here. When you're putting that motor back in, you can see that the only thing that's securing to is a plastic tab. Do not over tighten the nuts. Do not gorilla, be a gorilla when you're putting these on. Okay, when I took them off, they were not really tight either. They were just snug. So if you tighten them too tight, you're going to break the plastic that holds the motor on. Then you're going to have to come up with some other way of mounting it. Okay, one thing about the new and the old motor. Here's the old. Here's the new. The post at the bottom of the screw or the bolt that goes in there on the old is round, and on the new it's a hexagon. Now it probably looks about the same size, but I had a little bit of trouble when I was assembling them. That hexagon was not grabbing onto the plastic. It was going right into the plastic, the narrow side when it was narrow. So what I did is what I'm going to do is get some washers just to go over those first. Okay, I have lock washers, but I straighten them out and bend them back. And washers that would be the same size, so it's going to pick up all the meat on the plastic and not sink through. Hopefully, that's my plan. So I'll have a washer on both sides of that bolt when I finally assemble it. Okay, I've got the unit back together. I've got the new rivets put in the sides all the way around and everything. Got the motor mounted, double checking to make sure that the sprocket lines up correctly, which it does. And ready to give it the acid test. Okay, so we've got our little robot put back together. I think probably the biggest obstacle, if you want to call it that I ran into was because the new motor has hexagonal nuts instead of round nuts where you mount them. Took me a while to find washers that fit there perfectly, so those hexagon nuts won't bite into the plastic. So that was about the most time-consuming thing right there. It wasn't a bad job at all. One thing you want to remember when you're putting it together is to return the wires to their previous position. Safe and up out of the way of the drawer especially. Another thing is with the rivets on the side here, on the side when I went to re-rivet them, I used a 1/8 inch rivet in there, and when I took them out originally, I drilled them out from inside, and it didn't actually drill them out, it spun them and it heated them up so I could pop them out actually, but in the heating process I sort of made the holes bigger, so the 1/8 was not big enough. I just went to the one step or one size bigger with the rivets, and there's no problem with that whatsoever. So you might want to keep that in mind with your when you're installing your rivets. And another thing is, when I called the lady at Little Robot to order the motor and everything, she couldn't have been more helpful. She did give me the warning saying that, if you install it incorrectly or install the wiring incorrectly and burn up the motor, they're not going to stand by it or anything, which is perfectly reasonable. But she's very, very pleasant and really, really nice to work with. I can't say enough about them, and can't say enough about the Little Robot either. I'll tell you, when they made this machine, they most definitely made a better mousetrap, because this is the best I've seen, and like I say, I've had it for years and years. So and the shipping from the company was only like 4 days. That was from Michigan to California. So I'm all set, and it's working very well. It cycles out and it's nice and quiet now. Okay, just like brand new. Just like brand new. They're expensive to buy in the beginning, but boy, they sure are nice to have around the house. Good luck in putting yours together, taking it apart and putting your new motor in. And I hope this video was helpful.